Smart people don't just know what to say, they know what not to say. Think about that for a moment. It's not about what they share, but what they keep to themselves that makes all the difference. The smartest individuals understand that there's power in silence, in discretion, and in guarding certain parts of their lives. And if you want to be one of those people who stand out and succeed in ways others can't, you need to learn the same thing. In today's video, I'm going to reveal 3 things that smart people never share. Things that could completely shift the way you approach success and personal growth. These aren't just little hacks. They are the kind of insights that make all the difference between average and extraordinary. This is the kind of knowledge that will force you to rethink your approach to life, work, and relationships. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. And I'm about to show you exactly how to do that. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start seeing real progress, stick around. What you're about to learn might just change everything. Let's get started. Number 1, silence is a weapon. They use it wisely. There's power in silence. We see it all around us, yet we fail to truly understand it. We live in a world that constantly demands noise. Everywhere you look, people are talking about their plans, their ideas, their thoughts. It's the way the world works. People share everything, their successes, their problems, their opinions. But what if I told you that the most successful, the most powerful people in the world, they don't talk nearly as much as you think. Instead, they use silence as their greatest weapon. And it's in this silence that they build their power, their control, and their future. You've seen it before, right? The person who speaks the least often has the most to say when they do. That's not by accident. People who understand the power of silence use it wisely. They don't speak just to fill the empty space or to seek attention. They're selective about their words, carefully choosing when to speak, when to listen, and when to hold their peace. They understand something most people don't. Silence is an advantage. In a world where everyone feels the need to voice their thoughts and opinions, the silent observer has an edge. Think about it. When everyone else is talking, you're listening, you're watching, you're learning, you're taking in information while others are busy giving theirs away. That's the key difference. The loudest person in the room might think they're commanding attention, but in reality they're giving away their power, piece by piece, with every word they speak. The person who remains quiet, however, they're holding their cards close to their chest, keeping their plans, their thoughts, and their strategies under wraps. It's not that they're not thinking, it's not that they're not analyzing the situation, and it's definitely not that they're not working. It's that they've learned the art of silence. They know that when they speak, their words will have weight. They're not just speaking for the sake of speaking. They understand that words can be powerful, but silence can be even more powerful. Silence is the foundation of control. Imagine you're in a room with a group of people. Everyone's talking. Some people are speaking louder than others. Some are dominating the conversation. But you're quiet. You're observing. You're not jumping in every time someone says something that sparks your interest. Instead, you're taking mental notes, keeping track of what's said, what's left unsaid, and the body language that surrounds those words. By the end of the conversation, you're the one who truly understands the dynamics in the room. While everyone else has given away their position, that's the advantage of silence. You're in control without saying a word. Now think about the times when people come to you with their opinions, their advice, or their unsolicited thoughts. How often do you feel the urge to respond, to explain yourself, to correct them? But the wise person doesn't need to do that. They don't feel the need to engage in every conversation, to defend every position. They know that not every statement requires a response, and not every person deserves an explanation. They remain silent not because they don't have a response, but because they've learned that silence is a better response than any words could be. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being intentional. When you speak too much, when you reveal too much, you give people the chance to form opinions about you. You allow them to categorize you, to label you, to make assumptions. But when you remain silent, when you hold back what you could share, people don't know what to expect. They don't have the information they need to make judgments. And in that space, you have control. You control the narrative. You control the flow of information, and most importantly, you control your own destiny. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the world. It's easy to feel the pressure to speak your mind, to share your thoughts, and to let people know what you're working on. But if you can resist that urge, if you can sit in silence and just observe, you'll find that you'll have a much clearer picture of everything around you. You'll begin to see things others don't see. You'll hear things others don't hear. And in that silence, you'll find the clarity to make better decisions, the clarity to act when the time is right, and the clarity to create your own path without being influenced by the distractions of the world. One of the reasons silence is so powerful is because it allows you to build a sense of mystery around yourself. Think about it. When someone is quiet, people naturally become curious about them. They wonder what's going on in their mind. They wonder what they're thinking, what they're planning, what their next move will be. And this curiosity can work in your favor. People will start to respect you more, not because of what you say, but because of what you don't say. The more you keep to yourself, the more they'll want to know about you, and in that space of curiosity, you hold the upper hand. But silence is also a tool for your own self-mastery. When you learn to control your speech, you also learn to control your emotions. You stop reacting to everything that happens around you. You stop letting every comment or every situation throw you off course. Instead, you pause, you think, and you respond with intention. This is a skill that takes time to develop. But once you do, you'll find that you're much more composed, much more focused, and much more effective in everything you do. Now, you might be thinking that this sounds a bit like playing games with people or perhaps manipulating situations, but it's not about games, it's about strategy. It's about understanding that what you say and what you keep to yourself are both equally important. It's about realizing that silence is just as powerful as action. In fact, sometimes silence can lead to more powerful action, because it gives you time to think, to plan, and to execute without unnecessary noise. So if you want to become a person who is truly in control, a person who doesn't just follow the crowd but leads with intention, then it's time to start embracing silence. Stop filling every moment with words. Stop reacting to every situation. Start using your silence as a weapon to observe, to learn, and to build your future. It's in this silence that you'll discover your true power. And when you do speak, your words will be stronger than ever. They'll carry weight because they'll come from a place of deep thought, deep understanding, and deep control. Remember, silence isn't about isolation, it's about presence. It's about control. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. And when you learn to use silence as a weapon, you'll find that it will serve you in ways you never imagined. Number 2, they keep their financial moves private. Money loves silence. But there's something about money that makes people talk. The moment someone earns a little extra, they feel the need to share it with the world. They want to show off their new possessions, their new car, their new house. It's natural, right? People want to feel proud of their achievements, especially when it comes to money. But let me tell you this, those who truly understand the game of wealth don't flaunt it. They don't talk about it. They don't brag about it. And they certainly don't let the world in on their financial moves. Money loves silence. And the smartest people understand this principle well. It's not that they don't enjoy their success. It's not that they don't want to share their achievements with others. It's just that they've learned the importance of keeping their financial matters private. They know that revealing too much can lead to unnecessary problems. When you openly discuss your wealth, your investments, or your financial plans with everyone around you, you're opening the door for criticism, envy, and even unwanted advice. People might start asking questions they don't need answers to, or worse, they'll begin to make assumptions about you. And in that space, where people feel entitled to judge or comment on your financial situation, your money stops working for you, and you start working for your money. The truth is, the less people know about your financial life, the better. Smart people understand that it's not just about making money. It's about keeping it. They don't want anyone to know how much they have or where it's coming from. They don't need the validation of others, and they certainly don't need the judgment that often comes with success. By keeping their financial moves private, they maintain control of their narrative. They keep their focus on growing their wealth and building their future without getting distracted by external noise. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone bragging about a raise, a new investment, or the money they made on a recent project. It might feel good in the moment, but it often comes with unintended consequences. People who hear about your financial successes might start to envy you, or they might start to feel insecure about their own financial standing. They could even start asking for loans or looking for ways to borrow some of that wealth. It doesn't take long before the pressure starts to mount, and your money no longer feels like a blessing, but a burden. When you keep your financial moves private, you avoid all of this. You get to live in peace, focus on your goals, and make decisions without anyone looking over your shoulder. You're free from the external pressures that come with talking about money. And here's the kicker. Your silence actually makes people respect you more. When you're not out there shouting about how successful you are, people begin to take notice in a different way. They see the results in your action, not in your words. And that, my friends, is far more powerful than any flashy display of wealth. Another reason why keeping your financial moves private is crucial is because it gives you the freedom to make decisions without judgment. Think about how many times you've shared a financial decision with someone, only to have them immediately give you their opinion. You're spending too much. You should invest in this instead. Are you sure that's a smart move? Suddenly, your decision isn't yours anymore. It's influenced by others' opinions. And that's never a good position to be in. The smartest people understand that not everyone needs to know their next move. They know that if they want to make the best decisions for themselves, they need to block out the noise and stay focused on their own path. When you keep your financial plans private, you also maintain control over your goals. You're not subjecting your plans to the scrutiny of others who might not understand your vision. You're not worried about someone else's opinion of your choices, because you've kept those choices to yourself. You're free to take risks, to make mistakes, and to learn along the way without the pressure of having to explain yourself to anyone. This privacy creates a sense of freedom. Freedom to grow at your own pace, freedom to take calculated risks, and freedom to build your wealth on your own terms. And don't forget the element of surprise. When you're not out there constantly talking about your money, people will be taken aback when they see the results of your hard work. Instead of expecting you to fail or seeing you as someone who's all talk, they'll be shocked at how much you've achieved. This creates a mystique around you, a sense of respect that's built on your actions, not on the words you've spoken. People will start to take you more seriously because you've proven yourself through your results, not your rhetoric. Here's something else that's important to consider. Money isn't just about what you earn, it's about how you manage it. The wealthy understand this on a deeper level. They don't waste time bragging about their income, they focus on growing and preserving it. They understand that making money is just the beginning of the journey. What truly matters is how you use that money to create more wealth, to secure your future, and to build a legacy that lasts. And none of this can be done effectively if you're constantly talking about your financial moves. The moment you start sharing too much, you risk losing focus on what truly matters, growing your wealth. When you keep your financial life private, you also keep your focus on long-term success. Wealth isn't built overnight. It's the result of careful planning, hard work, and consistent effort. It takes time to see the results of your efforts, and during that time, you're going to face challenges. There will be setbacks, mistakes, and failures along the way. But when you keep your financial moves private, you're able to weather those storms without the pressure of having to explain yourself to anyone. You can stay focused on the bigger picture, knowing that success will come as long as you keep pushing forward. Money, like everything else in life, is about timing. If you're constantly talking about your financial decisions, you risk tipping your hand too soon. You risk giving others insight into your plans before you've had a chance to execute them. And when that happens, people can start to predict your moves. They can anticipate your next step, and that's never a good position to be in. By keeping your financial moves private, you keep people guessing. You keep them from knowing exactly what you're up to. And that's a huge advantage in a world where everyone is trying to get ahead. So when it comes to your financial life, remember this. Money loves silence. The more you keep your financial moves to yourself, the more you'll be able to build your wealth without interference. You'll have the freedom to make your own decisions, to take risks, and to grow at your own pace. And when the time comes, you'll be able to reveal the results of your hard work in a way that commands respect and admiration. Keep your financial moves private and watch how your wealth grows silently, steadily, and powerfully. Number 3, information is leverage, and smart people protect theirs. In today's world, information is everything. It's not just about what you know. It's about how well you can use that knowledge to your advantage. Every decision you make, every move you take is influenced by the information you have at your disposal. The people who succeed in this world understand something crucial. Information is leverage. And the smartest people know this better than anyone. They don't just gather information, they protect it. They treat their knowledge like a priceless asset because, in many ways, it is. Think about it. How often do we see people sharing every detail of their plans, their ideas, and their strategies with anyone who will listen? It's almost as if they want to get validation for their thoughts. They think that by sharing what they know, they're somehow strengthening their position. But in reality, they're doing the opposite. When you share too much, you give away your power. You allow others to understand your game, and once they know your moves, they can predict them. The smartest people in the room don't operate this way. They understand the power of silence when it comes to information. They understand that the less you reveal, the more you hold the cards. Think about any successful person you admire. Think about the people who have made it to the top in any industry. Do you think they're out there spilling all their secrets, telling everyone how they got there? No. They keep their information close to their chest because they know that knowledge is a weapon. If you give away your strategies, your plans, or your insights, you lose the competitive edge. The people who get ahead in life understand that there is power in withholding information, at least until it's the right time to reveal it. They've learned how to use their knowledge to their advantage. Instead of throwing out every piece of information they have, they use it strategically. They know when to keep quiet, when to share a little, and when to drop a bombshell. Information is leverage, and they use it with precision. They understand that in a world where everyone is constantly seeking knowledge, the real power lies in knowing what to share and when to share it. If you tell someone everything you know, they no longer have to work for that information. They can take it, use it, and possibly even beat you with it. When you protect your information, you're not just keeping secrets, you're keeping your advantage. You're protecting your ability to make decisions that others won't be able to anticipate. It's like having a hidden weapon that no one knows about, and when the time is right, you unleash it. That's what the smartest people do. They never let anyone know all the pieces of the puzzle. They let others see part of it, just enough to keep them guessing, but the key pieces are always hidden, and when they're ready, they put it all together and show the world what they've been planning. You might be wondering why it's so important to protect your information. After all, sharing what you know with others could seem like a good way to help them out, right? But here's the thing. When you give people too much information, you make it easier for them to catch up with you. They can use that information to outmaneuver you, to get ahead of you, and to steal your opportunities. In business, in life, and in any competitive environment, knowing when to hold your cards close is often the difference between success and failure. It's easy to think that sharing information makes you look smart, or that it will help others get ahead, but the truth is, it's a dangerous game to play. The more you share, the more you risk giving someone the tools they need to overtake you. You've got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth letting someone in on your strategy, only for them to use it against you later? Smart people don't make that mistake. They understand that information is power, and they wield it with care and consideration. The way smart people handle information is not about keeping people in the dark. It's about protecting the work they've put in. They've spent years learning, observing, experimenting, and refining their understanding of the world. That knowledge is valuable, and they don't treat it like something to be tossed around carelessly. They know that information can change the course of their lives. One wrong move, one piece of advice given to the wrong person at the wrong time, and everything can fall apart. So they guard it carefully. They share only what's necessary, and only with the people who truly need to know. You see, the smartest people don't just use information to get ahead, they use it to stay ahead. They understand that in this world, information is one of the most powerful tools you can possess. But it's only powerful if you know how to control it. If you don't protect your information, if you're too quick to give it away, you risk losing your edge. And once you lose that edge, it's hard to get it back. The best part, when you learn how to protect your information, you don't just keep others from using it against you. You also create a sense of mystery around yourself. People start to wonder what you know. They start to pay attention to you more closely because they realize that there's something more to you than meets the eye. When you're careful with your knowledge, you make others curious. They want to know what you're thinking, what you're planning, what's next for you. And that curiosity can be incredibly powerful. It can create opportunities that you never expected. It can make people want to work with you, to align with you, and to invest in you. All because they're intrigued by what you know and how you use it. In the end, information is leverage. It's a powerful tool that can change the course of your life, but only if you use it wisely. The people who truly understand this aren't the ones who are constantly sharing everything they know with the world. They're the ones who keep their knowledge close, who protect it, and who use it strategically to create opportunities that others can't even see coming. If you want to be successful, if you want to get ahead in this world, you've got to understand the value of your information. It's not just about what you know. It's about how you use it and when you use it. Protect your knowledge, and you'll be the one holding all the cards. Number 4, the biggest lesson in life. Not everything needs an audience. In life, there's one lesson that the most successful people know all too well. A lesson that often gets overlooked by so many of us. It's simple but incredibly powerful. Not everything needs an audience. We live in a world today where everything is shared, everything is broadcasted, and everything is posted for the world to see. Social media, blogs, and every other platform encourage us to share, share, share. It's almost as if we're taught that if something, it doesn't matter. But the truth is, not every moment, every idea, or every achievement requires applause from others. And when you understand this, it changes everything. There's a certain power in keeping things to yourself, in staying quiet about your next move, your personal goals, and even the steps you're taking to get ahead. We all have this urge to share every thought, every piece of progress, every win, even the small ones, because we want recognition, validation, and the feeling that we matter. We post that new job, that promotion, the new car, the vacation. Everything is out there for everyone to see. But here's the thing. The more you share, the less you have that's truly yours. The more you broadcast, the more you take away the significance of those moments because they're no longer private, sacred, or even for you. It becomes a performance. And life shouldn't feel like a stage. The truth is, the most successful people in life understand that not everything needs to be shared. They don't need to announce every move they make, every plan they have, or every thought that crosses their mind. They understand the value of privacy. They know that there's incredible strength in focusing on what you're doing without constantly needing an audience. When you stop seeking approval and validation from others, you gain a sense of power that most people will never experience. You get to work on yourself in peace, without the distractions of other people's opinions. You get to grow, not for the sake of showing off, but for the sake of your own personal development. Take a moment to think about it. How much of what you do is influenced by the desire for recognition? How often do you find yourself holding back or second-guessing your moves because you're wondering what others will think? It's a natural part of human nature to seek validation, but when you let that drive your decisions, you lose your authenticity. The most successful people are those who can act without needing an audience to cheer them on. They understand that the work they do, the progress they make, and the person they are becoming is enough in itself. They don't need the applause of others to feel validated. They know that the real satisfaction comes from within, from the personal satisfaction of knowing they're on the right path. It's a powerful thing when you realize that you don't have to share everything. It frees you up to focus on your goals and take the necessary steps to achieve them without the pressure of having to explain yourself to anyone. The smartest people don't reveal their next move until they're ready to show the world what they've been working on. And by the time they do, it's often too late for anyone to catch up. There's an element of surprise, of mystery that surrounds them because they understand that not every part of their journey needs to be exposed. Think about the most successful figures in history. Think about the trailblazers, the innovators, the people who changed the world. Do you think they were out there sharing every little detail of their process with the world? No. They were focused, they were working on their dreams in silence. They knew that not every step needed an audience, and they were patient enough to build something substantial before they let the world see it. They took the time to master their craft, to perfect their vision, and to get themselves to a place where their work spoke for itself. The results were so powerful that the world had no choice but to take notice. This lesson is something we can all learn from. It's okay to take your time and work in silence. It's okay to be intentional about what you reveal to others. You don't have to tell the world everything. In fact, keeping some things to yourself will give you the space you need to grow. And when you finally do share, when you reveal your work, it will have a much more profound impact because it will be clear that you've put in the time, effort, and dedication to make it something worth seeing. Here's another thing to consider. When you share too much too soon, you risk losing the magic of your journey. Every step forward, every small win can feel diminished if you share it with the world before it's fully realized. Sometimes it's about having a private victory, about reaching a milestone just for yourself, knowing that you've done the work and made the progress without needing someone else's approval. The more you do this, the more you'll realize that success doesn't always need to be flaunted. It's about the personal satisfaction of achieving something, not about how many people see it or applaud you for it. The biggest lesson in life is understanding that not everything requires an audience. When you stop living for the applause, you start living for yourself. You start making decisions based on your own desires, not because you're seeking validation from others. And that's when you can make real progress. When you stop caring about who's watching, you'll find that the freedom to move forward is exhilarating. You can take bold steps, make mistakes, and grow without the fear of judgment. You can focus on your path, your goals, and your dreams, and let everything else fall into place. In a world where everyone is so focused on sharing, it's rare to find someone who understands the power of silence. But it's in this silence that the real work happens. It's in the quiet moments of self-reflection, of putting in the effort without anyone knowing, that the true magic occurs. When you work in silence, you let your actions speak louder than your words. You allow your results to shine without needing to tell everyone about every step of the journey. And that's what leads to real success. The people who truly excel in life understand that not everything needs to be shared. They know that by keeping certain parts of their journey to themselves, they retain their power and focus on what truly matters. So don't be afraid to work in silence. Don't be afraid to pursue your goals without needing constant validation. The world will notice your success when the time is right, and when it does, it will be because you are willing to put in the work without needing anyone to watch. Keep your journey private and watch your life transform. Number 5, their knowledge, sharing wisely, not carelessly. There's something powerful about knowledge, a certain strength that comes when you truly understand something, when you grasp it at a level that goes beyond just the surface. The smartest people in the world are those who treat their knowledge like a precious resource, sharing it when the time is right and with the right people. They know the difference between sharing wisdom and simply speaking for the sake of speaking. It's a skill they've mastered, and it's one that, if we're being honest, many of us could learn from. Knowledge is valuable, but how and when you share it is even more important. Think about it for a moment. We live in an age where information is at our fingertips. The internet has made it so easy to access anything we want to know, from the most complex theories to the simplest facts. But just because we have access to all this information doesn't mean we should share it all the time. The smartest people understand that not everything they know needs to be said. They understand that sharing knowledge isn't about impressing others or getting attention. It's about having an impact. And the impact comes when the knowledge is shared thoughtfully, not carelessly. There's a danger in being too quick to share everything you know. When you give away your knowledge too easily, you dilute its value. People stop listening because they know it's always going to be given away. They stop appreciating the worth of your words, and before you know it, your knowledge becomes less about the value it provides and more about the quantity of words you can put out there. It's not enough to just know things. You have to know when and how to use that knowledge. You have to know who needs to hear it and when it will have the most effect. Smart people don't waste their wisdom on those who aren't ready for it. They wait for the right moment, the right context, the right person. And this isn't to say that knowledge should be kept to yourself, locked away in some hidden vault. Far from it. Knowledge is meant to be shared. It's meant to be used to help others, to make the world a better place. But it has to be shared strategically. You don't give the answer to a question that wasn't asked. You don't share a solution when someone hasn't yet realized they even need it. You don't tell someone how to solve a problem they haven't fully understood yet. Smart people know that timing is everything. They wait for the moment when their words will truly make a difference, when they will be understood, and when they will be valued. Let's take a look at the people who've made the greatest impacts on the world. They didn't just spout knowledge left and right. They shared what they knew in a way that was thoughtful, intentional, and purposeful. They knew that knowledge, when shared at the right moment, can change lives. But when shared too freely or too early, it can be ignored, misunderstood, or worse, misused. Think about the most influential leaders, innovators, and thinkers in history. They were strategic about what they shared and when they shared it. They didn't just throw their wisdom out into the world and hope someone would catch it. They were intentional. They understood that the power of knowledge lies in its impact, and the impact is greatest when it's shared wisely. Here's the thing. When you share too much, too soon, you take away the chance for someone to discover the answer themselves. You rob them of the opportunity to learn and grow in their own way. There's value in the process of figuring things out on your own, and when you rush to provide the answer, you skip that process. And that's something that's missing in the world today, a focus on learning through doing. The smartest people know that true understanding comes not from being told what to do, but from discovering it for yourself. And because of that, they are selective about what they share. They know that the value of knowledge is not just in what you know, but in how you share it and how you help others come to their own understanding. Think about your own life. How often have you been in a situation where someone gave you advice or shared their knowledge with you, but you weren't ready for it? You weren't in the right place to hear it, and it went in one ear and out the other. Or maybe on the flip side, you've given advice to someone who wasn't quite ready for it, and it didn't have the effect you hoped for. That's the danger of sharing knowledge too freely. It's not always going to be received in the way you expect. It's not always going to have the impact you hope for. And that's why smart people share wisely. They wait for the moment when their words will land on fertile ground. They wait for the moment when the person they're speaking to is ready to hear it, ready to understand it, and ready to use it. There's also the issue of sharing knowledge with the wrong people. Not everyone deserves access to the knowledge you've worked so hard to acquire. The smartest people are careful about who they share their wisdom with. They don't give away their best ideas to those who won't appreciate them, and they don't waste their time trying to convince others who aren't ready to learn. They understand that some people will simply never get it, and that's okay. They're not in the business of changing everyone's mind. They're in the business of making an impact with those who are ready to receive it. This is where the real power lies, in understanding that knowledge is a tool, not a currency. You don't spend it recklessly. You don't hand it out to anyone who asks. You use it strategically. You use it to help the right people at the right time. And by doing so, you increase its value. You elevate the people around you. You create a ripple effect of knowledge, one that has a lasting impact because it's not diluted by being shared too easily or too often. So the next time you have something valuable to share, take a moment to think about whether or not it's the right time. Think about the person you're sharing it with and ask yourself if they're truly ready for it. Are they in a place where they can understand it, use it, and appreciate it? If so, then share it. If not, wait for the right moment. You'll find that when you start sharing your knowledge wisely rather than carelessly, the impact you make will be far greater. And the best part is, you'll be doing it for the right reasons, not for recognition, but because you truly want to help others grow and succeed. Number 6, they never tell others what they're thinking. They observe instead. There's a certain power in silence, a strength that many overlook. It's not just about saying less. It's about understanding the weight of words and knowing when to use them. The most successful and intelligent people you meet don't broadcast every thought they have. They don't feel the need to share everything running through their minds, and that's exactly what makes them stand out. In a world where everyone feels like they need to say something, the ones who remain quiet, who choose when to speak, are the ones who end up ahead. They understand something most people miss. There's far more value in observing than in talking all the time. When you observe, instead of immediately sharing your thoughts, you learn more than you could by talking. You see things you might have missed. You hear things between the lines. The smartest people know that the less they say, the more they hear, and the more they can learn from their environment and the people around them. By withholding their thoughts, they make themselves more aware of what's going on. They don't just react to things or jump into conversations because they feel they need to be heard. They're measuring, watching, understanding. They're paying attention to body language, tone, the context of the conversation, and most importantly, the actions behind the words. All of this tells a story that words alone cannot. There's a certain level of discipline that comes with not blurting out your thoughts. It takes patience and self-control. It's a skill that many people fail to develop, especially in today's world of social media, where everyone is encouraged to share every passing thought. But the people who are truly successful, the ones who know how to move forward with purpose, understand that the most powerful move is often the one they don't make. They don't speak just for the sake of speaking. They wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, and when they do speak, their words carry more weight because they've carefully chosen them. The temptation to speak up is always there. It's in our nature to want to share what's on our minds. But let's be real here. How many times have you found yourself talking only to realize later that your words weren't as impactful as you thought? Or maybe you've regretted saying something because it didn't land the way you intended. The truth is, the less you speak, the more room there is for others to speak, for you to observe, and for you to truly understand the situation before jumping in. It's in this space of silence that clarity is born. It's where you discover the truth of what's really happening. Take a moment and think about the people you know who are always talking. You probably don't remember much of what they say, right? The constant noise tends to blur the message, and in the end, they don't stand out. Now think about the people who speak less, but when they do speak, everyone listens. Why do we listen? Because we know they don't waste their words. We know that when they say something, it's because it matters. And that's why when you choose to hold back your thoughts and simply observe, you give your words much more power. When you hold back your thoughts, you also become more attuned to the emotional temperature of the room. You can sense things you might otherwise miss if you were caught up in speaking your mind. This observation gives you an edge, a deeper understanding of people and situations. You're not reacting hastily or prematurely. Instead, you're able to process everything before taking action. This is exactly how the most successful people navigate through life. They don't rush into things. They take the time to absorb all the information, analyze it, and only then do they decide how to respond. And because of that, their responses are well thought out, and they rarely miss the mark. Being able to sit back and observe also allows you to see patterns. Most people don't take the time to watch what's going on around them. They're too busy talking, too busy being in the moment, that they miss the bigger picture. But when you're not constantly filling the space with your words, you create room to see how things unfold, how people react, and how situations evolve. Over time, this ability to observe helps you make better decisions because you're not just relying on what you think you know. You're relying on what you've seen, what you've experienced, and what you've carefully considered. It gives you a deeper level of insight that those who talk constantly may never have. There's something else that comes from observing instead of speaking. It allows you to learn from others. Think about it. When you're talking, you're not listening. You're not paying attention to the people around you and their experiences. But when you step back and listen, you begin to understand their perspectives. You learn from their mistakes, their successes, their struggles, and their strengths. You gather information from the people who are around you, and you use that to better your own decisions. And as you observe, you begin to see the subtleties in human nature that are often missed in the hustle and bustle of life. You start to understand what motivates people, what drives them, and how they truly think. There's also something deeply powerful about not revealing everything on your mind. The more you keep to yourself, the more people start to wonder. There's an air of mystery that surrounds people who don't give everything away. And that mystery is intriguing. It makes people want to know more about you. They want to understand you. And this curiosity can work in your favor, whether it's in business, relationships, or life in general. People are drawn to those who don't just give everything away. They're curious about why you're not talking, why you're so quiet. And that curiosity leads them to pay more attention to you when you do speak. You also gain a level of respect when you keep your thoughts to yourself. People start to see you as someone who has control over their emotions and words. They see you as someone who doesn't feel the need to react immediately to every situation or comment. And that respect is earned. It's something that can't be demanded. It's something you earn by being deliberate and thoughtful in your actions and words. So the next time you're in a room full of people, take a step back. Don't feel the pressure to fill the silence with your words. Instead, observe. Watch how people interact. Listen to what they're saying, but also pay attention to what they're not saying. Look at their body language, their facial expressions, the way they carry themselves. You'll be amazed at how much you can learn by simply observing. And when you do speak, choose your words carefully. Speak when it counts. Speak when it will have an impact. Because when you do, people will listen. And when they listen, your influence will grow. Number 7, what you share can be used against you. Choose wisely. In a world where everyone has access to so much information, there's a powerful truth that often gets overlooked. What you share can and will be used against you. In the age of oversharing, where social media, texts, and conversations constantly blur the lines of privacy, we often forget that not everything needs to be shared. The more you reveal, the more ammunition you give to others, whether it's in business, friendships, or even in moments of personal vulnerability. This is a game that many people play without realizing the consequences. And here's the truth. If you aren't careful, the very details you let slip could come back to haunt you. So what do you do with that? You choose wisely. Sharing is an art, and it's one that requires a great deal of wisdom. Think about it. Every time you share something personal or private, you're opening yourself up to the possibility of being misunderstood, judged, or even attacked. And let's face it, in today's world, people don't always have the best intentions. They may smile to your face, but in the background, they might be using everything you've shared to their advantage. It could be something as simple as a piece of gossip, a detail you thought was harmless, or a vulnerability you trusted someone with. But once it's out there, it's no longer in your control. And that's the part that catches most people off guard. There's a certain power that comes with keeping things to yourself. When you hold back and maintain a level of mystery, you become less predictable. And when you're less predictable, people can't use your words against you. The more you share, the more they can understand how to play their own game with your information. They might use your weaknesses to their advantage, or even worse, they may twist your words into something entirely different. Once something is out there, it's no longer yours to protect. It's exposed, vulnerable, and open to interpretation. And in a world where people love to play games with one another, there's no room for carelessness when it comes to what you share. But here's the thing. There's a fine line between being private and being secretive. Privacy is about knowing what to share and when. It's about understanding that not every conversation or piece of information needs to be public knowledge. It's the ability to control your narrative, to decide which parts of your life remain under wraps and which ones are safe to open up about. On the other hand, secrecy is about keeping things hidden out of fear or insecurity. The goal is to strike a balance where you're not overexposing yourself, but you're also not retreating into a shell because you're afraid of being vulnerable. Being selective with your sharing gives you the power to control your story, your narrative, and the way people perceive you. Imagine this for a second. Every time you tell someone something, they have the potential to either lift you up or tear you down with that information. People can take what you've shared and manipulate it, distort it, or use it to create a narrative that benefits them. And trust me, they don't have to be malicious to do this. It's human nature. People listen for what's useful to them, not always for the benefit of the person talking. That's why what you share becomes so powerful. Once it leaves your lips, you can't control how it's used. You can't guarantee that people will interpret it the way you intended, or that they won't twist your words to suit their own agenda. The truth is, when you share everything, you're giving people the power to control pieces of your story. We've all seen it, right? How many times has someone shared something with us in confidence only for that piece of information to show up in a different context later, used in a way that it was never intended? Or worse yet, how many times have we been the ones whose words were taken out of context, misused, and twisted into something far darker than they ever were meant to be? This happens all the time, and it's not just a problem in personal relationships. It happens in business, in social circles, and especially online. The more you share, the more opportunities people have to take your words and turn them into something that works against you. The safest course of action: choose wisely. Think about the way some of the most successful people operate, the ones who've made it to the top. Don't overshare. They don't put every single detail of their life on display for the world to see. They know that by keeping certain things private, they protect their power, their strategy, and their personal brand. They reveal just enough to keep people interested, but never so much that they become vulnerable to attack. They understand that their words and actions have weight, and they protect them like valuable assets. They don't need the approval of others, and they don't need validation from the masses. Their privacy is their power. When you're selective about what you share, you start to notice something interesting. People begin to respect your boundaries. They begin to see that you're not someone who can be easily manipulated or used. You become someone they can't figure out right away. And that air of mystery makes you intriguing. It's like a game of chess, where you're always thinking several moves ahead. You're not just talking to talk. You're measuring the impact of every word, every gesture, every piece of information you put out there. You're protecting yourself by knowing when and where to show up and when to stay quiet. It's tempting, I know. In a world where social media constantly encourages us to overshare, it feels like we need to keep up, to show the world everything we're doing, everything we're feeling, and every success we achieve. But in reality, this need to constantly broadcast our lives comes at a cost. When you're constantly putting everything out there, you become predictable. People can start to use that predictability against you because they know exactly how you'll respond, what you care about, and what drives you. It's like showing your cards in a poker game before the hand is even dealt. You lose the element of surprise, and you give up any chance of winning the game. What you choose to share matters. Your words are powerful, but they also carry the risk of being misused. Every time you speak, you create an opening for someone to either build you up or tear you down. The smarter move is to be intentional with your words, to hold back when it's necessary, and to only share what truly benefits you. By doing so, you protect your story, your reputation, and your future. So next time you feel the urge to share, ask yourself, is this something that will move me forward, or will it give someone else the chance to move me backward? Be strategic. Be wise. Your silence can be one of your most powerful weapons. Number 8. They never reveal their weaknesses. They work on them instead. There's a certain quiet power that comes with the ability to keep your weaknesses to yourself. It's not about pretending to be perfect or putting on a facade of invincibility. It's about recognizing that your flaws and shortcomings are personal, and they don't need to be paraded in front of the world for judgment. The truth is, the most successful people, the ones who truly know how to navigate through life, are the ones who never reveal their weaknesses. They don't wear them on their sleeves for others to see, and they certainly don't use their weaknesses as excuses. Instead, they do something far more powerful. They work on them in silence. They understand that showing vulnerability can be a strength, but revealing everything to the world isn't always the best choice. You see, weakness in its raw form can be a dangerous thing when shared too freely. It's not that we shouldn't acknowledge our weaknesses. The truth is, every one of us has them. It's part of being human. What separates the truly successful from those who struggle is how they approach those weaknesses. They don't run from them, but they don't broadcast them either. They know that by focusing on improving those weaknesses, they can become stronger without the world knowing the details. It's like a secret weapon, one that isn't obvious to others, but works wonders behind the scenes. Imagine this. When you reveal your weaknesses to others, you invite them to judge you based on what you've exposed. And let's be honest, people are quick to form opinions. Some may even use your vulnerability against you without hesitation, without remorse. It's a harsh truth, but it's a reality of human nature. People aren't always as empathetic as we hope they'll be. Instead of understanding and offering support, they might see your weaknesses as an opportunity to take advantage, or at worst, exploit them. This doesn't mean you should build walls and never show any vulnerability at all. It's just about being smart with where and when you share. When you share too much too soon, you lose control over how others perceive you. The power in working on your weaknesses in silence is that it keeps the element of surprise on your side. If everyone knows what you're struggling with, they know exactly how to undermine you. They know where to poke, where to prod, where to press your buttons. They know what you're working on, and they can easily judge your progress or lack thereof, on the other hand, when you keep your focus on improving yourself quietly, without broadcasting your every struggle, you give yourself the chance to grow without the pressure of other people's expectations. You can learn, adapt, and evolve at your own pace, without the distractions or the judgment that comes from making your weaknesses public. It's not about hiding your flaws or pretending that you don't have them. The key is to own your weaknesses in private and transform them into strengths without the world watching. Think about athletes who don't announce every challenge they face while they're training. They don't post videos of themselves struggling or faltering during their workouts. Instead, they quietly work on their skills behind closed doors, sharpening their craft and building their strength until it's undeniable. When they finally step out onto the field, they're ready to perform. But the journey to that moment was done in silence. And that's what makes it so powerful. The same principle applies to your personal and professional life. When you're working on your weaknesses, whether it's a skill you're trying to improve, a habit you're trying to break, or an emotional challenge you're trying to overcome, you need to give yourself the space to grow. You need to be able to focus on progress without the noise of outside opinions clouding your vision. You can't expect to improve if you're constantly seeking validation from others or worrying about how they might perceive you. Your growth is yours alone. The more you work on those weaknesses in silence, the more capable you become. And over time, you'll realize that those weaknesses no longer have the power to control you. They become stepping stones on your path to success. When you keep your weaknesses to yourself, you also protect your self-esteem. There's nothing worse than putting yourself out there, only to have someone tear you down for something that you're already struggling with. No one wants to feel like their flaws are being judged or dissected by others. It's one thing to receive constructive criticism, but it's another entirely to be the subject of someone else's scrutiny, especially when you're vulnerable. So by working on your weaknesses privately, you're also preserving your sense of dignity and self-respect. You get to control how others see you, without giving them the ammunition to criticize you for things you're already trying to improve. Let's talk about confidence for a moment. Confidence doesn't come from pretending to be flawless. Real confidence is built on the quiet knowledge that you can face challenges head on and you can improve yourself in ways that others may not even realize. When you don't reveal your weaknesses, you maintain that quiet confidence. People will look at you and think, wow, they've got it all together. Little do they know, you're working behind the scenes, putting in the hours, making the changes, and improving every single day. That's what gives you the edge. That's what gives you the power. It's the unseen effort that leads to the biggest breakthroughs. By keeping your weaknesses to yourself, you also become more resilient. Life is full of challenges, and no one is immune to failure or setbacks. The key is how you respond to those challenges. Do you wallow in them? Or do you get up, dust yourself off, and keep going? When you focus on self-improvement in silence, you develop the kind of inner strength that doesn't need the approval or attention of others. You become a force of nature, moving forward with purpose because you've learned how to transform your weaknesses into opportunities for growth. And when you finally do share your progress, when you finally reveal how far you've come, it will be that much more impactful because you did the work in silence. Now, here's the thing. There's no shame in struggling. We all have weaknesses, and we all have things we need to work on. The real power comes from understanding that you can take control of your own narrative. You can work on those weaknesses, improve them, and turn them into strengths without anyone else being the wiser. It's about focusing on the journey, not the judgment. You don't need an audience to validate your growth. You don't need the approval of others to know that you're making progress. What you need is the discipline to show up every day, quietly working on yourself, becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. So the next time you feel the urge to reveal your weaknesses or share your struggles, remember this: you don't owe anyone that. You don't need to expose your vulnerabilities to the world for validation. The true strength lies in the work you do in private, the silent efforts that no one sees but that ultimately shape who you are. Keep your weaknesses to yourself, work on them behind the scenes, and when the time comes, you'll step into the spotlight stronger than ever before. And that is a power no one can take away from you. Number 9, their personal routine for growth, because consistency works best in silence. There's a power in consistency that often goes unnoticed because it's so subtle. It's not the loudest, most attention-grabbing approach, but consistency, done quietly, day after day, has the power to transform your life in ways you can't even begin to imagine. The truth is, the people who are truly successful aren't out there making noise about their efforts. They're not posting about their progress every single day or seeking validation from others. They're quietly sticking to a routine that drives them forward, one small action at a time. And that's the secret to their growth, the personal routine they follow in silence. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, but it works. And it works because it's consistent, grounded in hard work, and most importantly, it's done without the need for an audience. Imagine the most successful people you know. The ones who seem to always be a step ahead. The ones who accomplish things effortlessly. The ones who don't need to shout their achievements from the rooftops. Now, look a little deeper. What do they all have in common? It's not that they were born with some magic formula for success. It's not that they have a secret shortcut to achievement. What they have is consistency. Consistent action in a personal routine that they follow day after day. Whether anyone is watching or not, they understand the power of showing up, of doing the work, even when it seems like no one notices, because they know that success is built over time, not in a single moment of brilliance. Consistency works best in silence. Think about it. When you're constantly telling everyone about the things you plan to do, about the goals you want to reach, you're giving away the energy that should be focused on actually achieving them. When you make noise about your progress, you're diluting the energy that should be poured into your work. The people who have mastered the art of personal growth know that their energy is best spent in silence, focusing on their routine, developing habits that drive them forward every single day, no matter how small the step. The key to this routine isn't the big, bold, life-changing moment. It's the small, everyday decisions. The simple act of showing up, of doing the work without expecting immediate recognition or praise. The true power of a personal routine is in its ability to compound over time. What seems like a small effort today, a few minutes of focused work, a small habit you're building, becomes something enormous when done repeatedly over weeks, months, and years. That's the magic of consistency. It doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. It just needs to be consistent. Think about how a snowball starts. It's small at first, almost insignificant, but the more it rolls, the bigger it gets. Every little movement adds to its momentum until it becomes something powerful. Your personal routine works the same way. At first, it may seem like you're not making much progress. You might even feel like no one notices or cares about the work you're doing. But trust me, every small step, every little decision to show up and put in the effort builds on itself. Over time, it compounds into something much bigger than you ever imagined. And let's not forget the importance of discipline. The successful people who understand the power of consistency are disciplined. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They make it a non-negotiable part of their routine. They show up every day, even on the days when they don't feel like it. They understand that motivation is fleeting, but discipline is what sustains progress. You don't need to feel inspired every single day. In fact, some of the best work you'll ever do will come on the days when you don't feel like doing anything at all. The secret is in making that routine a part of who you are. It becomes something you do, not because you're motivated, but because you've made the commitment to yourself that you will. There's a certain beauty in the quiet, consistent work that goes unnoticed by the world. When you don't have an audience cheering you on every step of the way, you learn to rely on your own internal drive. You develop an understanding that your growth is not about external validation, but about the satisfaction of knowing you're moving forward, even if no one else sees it. It's in those quiet moments of self-discipline where the real transformation happens. That's when you become the person capable of achieving your goals, not because you've made a spectacle of your journey, but because you've quietly worked your way towards success one day at a time. Your personal routine for growth isn't about perfection. It's not about getting everything right every time. It's about showing up consistently, learning from your mistakes, and getting better along the way. You might stumble, you might fall off track, but the key is getting back up and continuing. It's about committing to that process, even when it seems like no one is watching. The truth is, the people who achieve great things are the ones who have mastered the art of persistence. They understand that success is not an event, it's a journey that is built on the foundation of daily habits and routines that are performed with unwavering consistency. And this is the beauty of it all. No one needs to applaud your efforts for you to keep going. In fact, the less attention you seek, the more you can focus on the work itself. The less you're distracted by external opinions or the need for validation, the more energy you can pour into the things that really matter. When you're focused on your own growth, when you're immersed in your routine, the results speak for themselves. You don't need to shout about your progress because, over time, your results will be the loudest testament to the work you've done. Your routine will speak volumes even if no one else is watching. This is why consistency done in silence is so powerful. It's about trusting the process, sticking to your routine, and allowing time to do the heavy lifting. The world might not notice the small steps you're taking, but those steps are adding up. They're creating momentum. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that all those quiet, consistent actions have led to something massive. Your growth will be undeniable, your success will be clear, and the quiet, unwavering routine you followed will have carried you farther than any flashy goal could ever take you. So make your growth a personal journey. Keep your routine to yourself. Focus on the work and let the results speak for themselves. Because in the end, consistency works best in silence. Number 10, attention is a trap smart people avoid it by keeping these three things private. There's a certain power that comes with attention, no doubt about that. It's hard to ignore the magnetic pull it can have, the way it can make you feel like you're on top of the world. People pay attention to you. They watch what you're doing. They listen to what you're saying. In today's world where everyone is constantly connected and seeking recognition, attention almost feels like a currency. But here's the hard truth. Attention is a trap. It can pull you in, make you feel important, make you feel seen. But in the end, it can also distract you from your true purpose, your goals, and your growth. Smart people, the ones who have learned to navigate life with intention and focus, understand this. They know how to avoid the trap of attention, and they do it by keeping a few key things private. Things that could easily derail their progress if they were to share them with the world. When we talk about attention being a trap, we're not saying that attention in itself is inherently bad. There's nothing wrong with being noticed for the right reasons, for doing something amazing or for achieving success, but the issue lies in seeking attention for the sake of attention itself. When you're constantly chasing after validation, when your actions are motivated by the need to be seen, you risk losing sight of what really matters. The focus shifts from your work and your growth to the external approval of others, and once you're caught in that cycle, it's hard to get out. It's easy to get addicted to the likes, the shares, the comments. It feels good in the moment, but it doesn't last. It doesn't fuel real growth, and it doesn't lead to lasting success. The truth is, the people who achieve great things don't do it by chasing attention. They do it by focusing on their craft, on their mission, and on their vision for the future. They understand that not everything needs to be shared, not every thought needs to be voiced, and not every success needs to be broadcasted. They keep certain things private, things that are crucial to their growth and their success. By keeping these things to themselves, they avoid the trap of attention and stay focused on what really matters. One of the first things that smart people keep private is their plans. Now, there's nothing wrong with sharing your plans with those who are close to you, who genuinely care about your success. But the moment you start announcing every step you plan to take, every goal you want to achieve, you start opening yourself up to unnecessary distractions. You invite opinions, criticism, and external pressures that can easily throw you off course. When you keep your plans to yourself, you protect your vision from being diluted by others' thoughts and expectations. You allow yourself the space to experiment, to make mistakes, and to adjust without worrying about how others perceive your progress. This doesn't mean you shouldn't be open to feedback or guidance, but it's important to recognize that your journey is yours alone. The less you reveal about your plans, the more room you have to move freely, to pivot when necessary, and to take actions based on your own instincts and intuition. Another thing that smart people keep private is their struggles. It's natural to want to share when you're going through tough times, to seek comfort and support from others. And while it's important to lean on people when you need help, constantly airing your struggles can make you feel weaker than you actually are. It can keep you stuck in a victim mindset, where you feel like the world is against you and you start seeking sympathy instead of solutions. Successful people know that struggles are part of the process. They understand that everyone faces challenges, but they also understand that talking about them constantly only keeps you trapped in the struggle itself. By keeping your difficulties to yourself, you retain control over how you navigate them. You learn to problem solve on your own terms and grow stronger as a result. When you keep your struggles private, you take the power away from the external world and place it firmly in your hands. It's a shift from seeking comfort to seeking solutions. And then there's the most important thing that smart people keep private: their progress. There's a certain satisfaction that comes with watching others notice how far you've come. It feels great when people start complimenting you, or when they start talking about how impressive your journey has been. But here's the thing. When you're constantly sharing your progress, it starts to become more about the validation from others than about your personal growth. The real magic happens when you keep your progress to yourself, when you quietly continue to improve without seeking applause or recognition. This allows you to stay grounded, to focus on the work, and to make real progress without distractions. It also allows you to surprise people with the results, rather than constantly seeking feedback along the way. The most successful people I know don't need to announce their victories to the world. They let their results speak for themselves. When you keep your progress private, you protect the energy you would have spent on explaining or justifying yourself. You focus that energy on pushing yourself even further, knowing that your success will eventually be undeniable. When you don't need to tell the world about every small win, you can truly focus on the bigger picture. The power of not sharing your progress is that it keeps you humble, keeps you hungry, and keeps you focused on what's next. It removes the pressure of having to explain yourself, and instead, it gives you the freedom to work at your own pace. The bottom line is this: attention is a trap because it shifts the focus away from your work and your growth and onto your need for external validation. When you stop seeking attention, when you learn to keep your plans, struggles, and progress private, you take back control of your journey. You stop allowing the opinions of others to shape your path, and you start moving forward on your own terms. You can build success quietly, steadily, and with full ownership of your decisions. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being seen. It's about becoming the person you're meant to be. And that person doesn't need the world's attention to succeed. They just need to stay focused, keep their goals close, and continue moving forward no matter who is watching. Success is not just about what you achieve. It's about what you choose to keep for yourself. Now, you know the 3 things that smart people never share? These are the things that shape their success, protect their focus, and give them the edge in every situation. It's not magic, it's mindset. And it's something you can apply to your life starting today. Remember, success doesn't come from doing everything or telling everyone your plans. It comes from making strategic choices, staying focused, and knowing which things to protect along the way. When you start keeping these things to yourself, you'll notice a shift in the way you think, act, and even how others treat you. So take what you've learned here and put it into action. If you start thinking and acting like the smartest people do, you'll soon find that the success you've been chasing is closer than you ever imagined. Keep growing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep your focus on what truly matters. Thanks for watching, and remember, the right knowledge in the right hands can change everything. Keep moving forward, and I'll see you in the next video.